Ready to roll, John? Yeah?
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
We got a comment from Jarrett. He said, live from the Pitbull concert at Van Andel Arena. It's ready to start. He's got Miller Lite Ice Cold, rating 9.9. He said, good luck tonight, boys, recording. Good time. And then we got somebody watching it. What does that say? Guwop McLeod is watching. What's up, Guwop? Is that how you say it? Guwop? G-U?
Glad you're here.
W-O-P? Is that how you would say it? Guwop?
Phonetically? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks, man. Share us with your friends. Help us grow our audience. We're jumping into the Michigan State Spartans. We're going to do Michigan State first because that's only fair. So last year, Michigan State finished the season 11-2 with losses to Purdue and Ohio State and beat Pitt in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Along with a successful overall season, they beat their biggest rival, Michigan, and Tucker is now 2-0 versus the Wolverines. They finished 7-2 in conference, and if they were able to take care of business against Purdue, they more than likely would have represented the Big Ten East in the championship game. Mel Tucker had an incredible year, too, at MSU. After going 2-5 overall in the COVID season, he put MSU back on the map, gained a ton of traction as a legitimate coach in college football, and earned a 10-year, $95 million contract, along with a $1.5 million raise for his coaching salary pool, which now sits at $7.5 million, which is really an incredible foundation to set. When you're paying your coaches, you're getting paid, you're setting a foundation, and that should be really exciting for Spartan fans. Talk a little bit about the betting side of things. MSU is plus 12,000 to win the national championship. They have the 7th best odds to win the Big Ten at plus 2,800 behind Minnesota, who's plus 25, Iowa plus 18, Penn State plus 13, Wisconsin plus 1,000, Michigan plus 650, and OSU minus 215 to win the Big Ten. Their over-under wins is over 7.5 wins is at minus 130, and then under the 110 or under 7.5 wins, sorry, is at plus 110. So, yeah, we also got another comment from Bob Karen. Agree, Miller Lite 9.9, having one on the deck and watching. My dad's on vacation tonight. So he's pumped. He said he's not going to turn us off and fall asleep. So I don't know if that was a compliment or
he's going to keep us on and fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. So he's probably got his Oculus on the deck too. Just listening. Let's be honest. No. Key subtractions. I think we'll kind of move through here and then jump in when you guys want to. Obviously, the big one is Kenneth Walker. You also have Jalen Naylor and Jacob Panasiuk are the three biggest names, I think, that left for the NFL. Walker, obviously, a high-end draft pick. Naylor drafted in the 6th round by the Vikings, and Panasiuk was an undrafted free agent signed by Washington. I think he was released. I actually don't have that in front of me for sure, but I'm pretty sure he got released over the point here. He was the leader of the defense, a game-breaking speedster at wide receiver, and a guy who should have been a Heisman finalist are not easy to replace for anybody. Naylor had some yards, basically is what I was going to try to say. Pretty good career overall. I mean, almost 1,500 yards in his career, 12 touchdowns. Last year he had six touchdowns, just under 700 yards, which was a big piece of what the offense did, I think, for Michigan State.
I don't think the stats really don't tell the story.
I agree with that. Nope, I think that's a good point.
There's a guy that battled injuries all throughout his college career, and it was clearly a speedster and a game breaker that they were hoping to have at all times, and it just never seemed to always be available.
Yep.
But last year he did have his biggest year, 695 yards, 6 touchdowns. So the game-breaking speed was always there when he was on the field.
Yep, for sure. And then obviously Kenneth Walker, incredible season last year. For his 1 year at Michigan State, he had 1,600-plus yards on 263 attempts, 18 touchdowns with a 94-yard was his longest. That's a 6.2 average, 136.3 average yards per game. Incredible numbers.
Stud.
And he deserved to be at the Heisman ceremony, in my opinion. I wouldn't say because over Hutchinson, but like too many quarterbacks were there that obviously weren't going to win. I think you got to spread the wealth a little bit more there. But I mean, they got a lot to fill. But I think what Tucker did from year 1 to year 2. I think he's got the job ready here. So we'll kind of go there. Now let's start with the quarterback, previewing the offense. Is that cool with you guys, or you got more to say
jump
there?
right into it.
Kick it.
In my opinion, probably one of the least concerning positions here. It's Peyton Thorne's job, no question. And just he's the proven leader of the offense. I think with what Kenneth Walker did, they were able to put the spotlight on somewhere else, but he's still seriously a good leader. He doesn't go out there and like win crazy games, like make incredible plays and stuff, and he does make those mistakes, but he's got this short memory that I think a lot of quarterbacks don't have at his age and in college football, that he just doesn't care. He just moves on, and he'll make that same throw, and this next time he'll make it after he makes that mistake. You know what I mean? Like, he's not afraid to try that exact same throw again and kind of go away from it. You know what I mean?
He definitely battles.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Like, he always comes back in these games. He keeps them close. We saw that against Pitt in the bowl game. You know, they weren't playing a Pitt team that with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Yep.
But this defense was legit last year. They were really good. Pitt's defense.
Oh yeah.
And I saw somebody making a comment about Peyton Thorne and coming back and how good he is and how he tore up the Pitt defense. No, you were not watching that game then, because the stats were there, but it was chaos at the end that brought them back in. But that's the fight that I think is a really great thing out of Peyton Thorne. He's very athletic.
Yeah.
He's got a big arm. He had some games where the ball was not coming out of his hand right.
I would agree with that.
And
when he's under duress, he can look uncomfortable. That's a very, I would say, concerning thing. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't know. Go ahead. You'll word it better than I will.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's cold. I don't know if it's when he tries to rush through his mechanics, because he does have a live arm, so he's got a little bit of a.
I don't
know. He's got a little bit of a hitch, which most quarterbacks do, no problem. But it might be one of those things where if that timing is off a little bit, it starts to wobble out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something you kind of grow out of, or at least you hope to grow out of. I don't expect that kind of performance. I'm actually really high on Peyton Thorne. I think he's one of the bright spots of the team.
It seems to happen when people are on their feet, their quarterback's feet, and they're getting happy feet, if you will. That's when their hands start, and it comes out weird. Sorry, Mike.
No. I wanted to jump back. When you make mention of live arm, what do you mean by that? For me, for a lot of the listeners, what do you mean, live arm?
It doesn't take long for it to move 30 yards downfield, right?
I would say the better way of explaining it is like when a quarterback, especially when you're on the move and your arm gets stuck in a spot, like you're trying to run, but then you get stuck in your mechanics and you just throw like a little duck. It doesn't go anywhere. David Blau throws does not have a live arm. Like, it looks like he's a lot of effort trying to throw the ball down the field, and the front end goes down like this, and it just doesn't really go anywhere. It's the opposite. He's free. He can be moving to his left, moving to his right. No matter what, he'll always have enough zip on the ball wherever he wants to throw it.
Yep.
So that's never a concern.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, live arm, right? Like, you can throw from any position. Mahomes, live arm. I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's more of a feeling.
Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford's got one of the livest arms. No, but I mean, when you can have a quarterback coming back who threw 27 touchdowns the year before, he had 10 picks, but, man, 27 touchdowns is a pretty good number. Yeah, it's not the 50 or whatever that these Heisman candidates do, but, man, combine that with a good running game, like, you got a threat offense. You got a very, very good offense.
I think that would be the Michigan record, wouldn't
27? No.
I think it's close. It's either 27 or 28. I think it's the all-time record for Michigan.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. You got Noah Kim trending to be the number 2, but is being pushed by the true freshman, 4-star out of California, Caden Hauser. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. I don't think we'll ever see it. I don't think we're that worried about it. It'll just be
I like Hauser in that one.
If he has to, Thorne has to set out a drive or two or a play or two, who they bring in will be interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Obviously, the big loss was Kenneth Walker. Running back room, you think huge drop off, but it seems like they just jumped into the transfer portal and got some big names. They got Jarek Broussard, was terrific back out of Colorado in 2020 and did what he could in a rough situation in 2021. But then you got Jalen Berger, I don't know how you'd say that, super recruit basically out of Wisconsin who didn't work out, but the talent is there. It feels like if someone's going to be a Kenneth Walker, that's the guy that could jump in and do it because of how highly recruited he was and all of that. But, I mean, just a few good backs. They'll also be joined by Harold Joyner, who is a transfer out of Auburn. Jordan Simmons, Elijah Collins, obviously complete the rotation, who've been there for a while. What do you think about the running back room?
I think they're really deep.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of options here. Are any one of them going to be Kenneth Walker? No, I don't expect.
And that's a very unfair to say that it's even possible.
We didn't think Kenneth
what I mean?
Walker would be Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
we
I didn't even know who he was this time last year.
We knew he was going to be good, but like to expect somebody to be a Heisman candidate coming into a new team, learning a new system, you just can't rely on that year after year. So
yeah.
Is this team going to be Kenneth Walker? No. Are they super good? Are they really deep? Yeah, I'm a big fan of this running back room.
It's getting back to more what Michigan State's known for, is a couple guys that are exploding on the scene and having a very good year, not a Heisman Trophy year. I mean, I don't know if they've ever had a Heisman Trophy winner or candidate at the running back room. I'm sure they have that I can't think of. But, like, this is back to what Michigan State's been doing, is having multiple guys that can do it, that can punch you in the mouth. It's this guy's drive. Now it's this guy's drive. If you have a couple guys that you can trust to do that, I mean, that's getting back to the more Michigan State mantra, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, would you rather have Kenneth Walker? Yeah. But I mean, it's a good thing to
Not
have
the option.
this
I think
extra
Jared
draft.
Broussard is a watch out for him. He's going to be the Kenneth Walker type in this to potentially replace him. But even the guys that you mentioned, third and fourth, Jordan Simmons and Elijah Collins, we know they're good.
Yeah,
Elijah Collins led this team 2 years ago. We were expecting big things from him last year, or maybe the year before. I don't know. He's been on the team for forever.
Yeah.
Simmons has been a backup for 4 years at this point too. So again, super deep. I like it.
Guys that you can trust to give the ball to. I don't know. I think the biggest question for me when it comes to the running back room is, did Kenneth Walker make that offensive line look better than they are? And that's what I want to kind of get into next, is the offensive line, who we know have their struggles and all of that, and the depth's not there either. And it's just that's the one that's going to be curious, because Kenneth Walker absolutely dominated games, no matter if the offensive line was doing their job or not, it seemed like. And that's where I wonder if these guys are going to be more or less like, they need the offensive line to really kind of find that groove, get that push, and kind of, set the tone for on the ground here. One of the biggest questions of the team is definitely the offensive line. Spartans have five or six, I think, experienced players, they said, in our call I found. But the second unit is untested and unproven, and the returning group has been proven to be kind of vulnerable, I would say. Jarrett Horst at left tackle is coming back. You got J.D. Duplain. Is that his name? I'm so bad with names. I don't even know why I try.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Nick Samick. I just can't do somebody
yeah,
else
both are
read
right.
it. Yeah?
No, both are right. Yeah, go.
And then Matt Couric, right tackle, Spencer Brown. And then with Washington State transfer Brian Green, I got that one right, filling in at center guard. So, I mean, I'm sure when you're a Spartan fan, you know these guys inside and out. You know you're confident because you have returners. That's always so important when it comes to offensive line. You have a unit. That's something that you can truly build on. But I just feel like they were so vulnerable at times. I wouldn't be confident in it. But, I mean, if you guys see something that I don't, I mean, tell me. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about the O-line.
I don't think it's as big of concern as are they going to be leading the nation and being great? No, I don't think they're at any risk of winning an award for being an offensive line. But the team is old enough, they're experienced enough, and they are at least proven enough to be a unit. And so the more you work with your unit, especially at this kind of an age in college, like some of them are 5th and 6th year guys. So they're going to be big and strong for their age, playing up against some young, quick talent and all that. But the more you stay in college, the better you are. So I think this, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week. They're only going to be better than they were last year, which isn't saying a whole lot, but it's less of a question mark than last year. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I mean, I think it's a middling of the pack offensive line, which compare pretty well if you get a creative offense with a talented quarterback and a really good deep running back room.
Micah, anything?
Nope.
All right, moving on to the wide receiving room. John, how's your draft going over there?
Not good.
No?
No.
Did it auto draft everything? You're trying to figure out how to restart?
It auto drafted me, yeah.
just for you?
Yeah.
Even though you were there?
Yeah, I had the draft room open on the app, and then I also had like our draft settings open on a web browser, and I went back into the app, like closed the web browser, went back in the app, and it said, I was watching the clock. It said 18 minutes left. I watched it go down. Phone's been on the charger. It said 3 minutes until draft time. I opened up the player queue, and it picked the first 3 draft picks of the night already, and like already picked for me.
Oh.
Jonathan Taylor, and then like CeeDee Lamb, and then somebody else, and it's just like, what in the heck?
Dang.
I left the draft room the 4th time, came back in. I was able to put players in the queue, but
Dang.
I had already had like 5 draft picks, no quarterbacks yet. It's
No
just like,
quarterbacks. You're like, that's
yeah.
where you're gonna. Who went number 1 overall?
Josh Allen. I wanted Herbert.
Yeah.
Like I would have picked either one of those 2 guys. So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Let you guys take over.
Yeah, that really sucks. Wide receiving room. Look, obviously replacing Naylor is someone that it's tough. But when you start going over the names and you're bringing back a guy like Jayden Reed, who is the main piece and a true NFL talent, that's where you can confidently say that this offense or this wide receiving room will be just fine. You also got Trey Mosley, who I think could have he started coming on towards the end of the year and really became a mismatch, I think, for a lot of the teams that they were playing. Starting off with Jayden Reed, 10 touchdown receptions last season, as well as with over 1,000 receiving yards on 59 receptions, all of which led the team in 2021. He also led the Big Ten and was tied for the college football lead with 2 punt returns for a touchdown and adding a rushing touchdown as well. Dude's a stud, and the combination of Thorne
really
to Reed is definitely that's a threat that teams need to be aware for. Now Trey Mosley, redshirt junior, was solid with 35 catches, three for touchdowns and 530 yards, which ranked 3rd on the Spartans in all 3 categories. Like I said, kind of came on late, but was a mismatch. Physical guy that can just he'll get his nose in there, and he'll take on a hit. He'll deliver the punishment. So starting with those 2 guys, what do you think about the returners of this wide receiving room?
I think Jayden Reed is really a stud. He's a guy that gets open at will, and then that contested catch ability is really what leads this team and can really bail out Peyton Thorne in a lot of different tough situations.
And obviously, I'm going to bring up the Michigan game. Obviously, what Kenneth Walker did is that to Michigan with 5 touchdowns. That was the dagger, but there were so many clutch catches. There was a couple. I think Jayden Reed had one. I think it was actually Trey Mosley had another one. That was just massive plays for Michigan State that kept the game close when it looked like it could have got out of hand. Jayden Reed, man, that guy. I wish he was. That's a guy that everybody wants.
We wanted to draft him. He was one of the before he decided to come back. We were talking about him being maybe a sleeper choice, middle of the rounds for Lions to go target him and for a wide receiver. Yeah. He's tough. He also plays through stuff. And then I think Trey Mosley just really complements him really well because of his speed, a little bit more of that dynamic or what you would prototypical body for a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. So the combination of the shorter routes over the middle for Reed and then the outside play of Trey Mosley. But I think Jayden Reed's also that outside guy too. So they are really good together. Yep. I don't think there's going to be any problem. And then, new guys. I don't know if you want to go through those.
Well, real quick, you got Foster, who's a junior, Coleman, who's a sophomore, and Terry Lockett Jr. are also 3 returning guys. But the new guys are interesting. So you got Jeremy, I think. Jeremy Bernard, who was an early enrollee. He was a 4-star. That is, I've heard 6 foot, I've heard 6'2", but he's 200 pounds with playmaking abilities out of Nevada. 38th ranked wide receiver in the country. Could make an impact year 1. Is what I'm hearing heading into through camp and stuff like that. People are really excited about him. You got Antonio Gates Jr. Comes in with high expectations. Of course, he was the son of all-pro tight end Antonio Gates. So he was ranked as a 4-star recruit by 24/7 Sports and could come in and make some plays. Terrell Henry was ranked as a top 20 player in the state of Michigan. He's got some potential, some speed to kind of fill that Naylor role, hopefully. Overall, it just seems like that they have, when you have a go-to guy and then guys that It's hard to say that they're going to complement him well. I think Mosley definitely does, and it's a massive question mark to see who will be that guy that steps up. You got to have at least one guy that'll step up and be the number 2.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about it at all.
It seems like you have a bunch of guys that could be the number 2s and number 3s, but who's going to be that one that really starts separating himself as the number 2? I think is important, and we'll learn that pretty quick here.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Bernard. I think Tyrell Henry. I think a lot of these guys that could come in and make some immediate impact. All they need is one. All they need is one of them to make the impact, and then we can hold on to that young talent and groom them and make them, let them develop and everything. But this team is established enough. The wide receivers are established enough where it's not a group that you look at with a bunch of question marks. They lost one guy that was injured a lot last year. They're all set. They're going to be good.
Yeah. So overall thoughts on the offense. Obviously, I would say their weak link is the offensive line. That it's going to carry. It needs to carry a team.
It can hold them back in big situations.
Yeah.
That's something to watch out for.
I think that's a great way to say it. It can significantly hold them back, but if they are at all, let's say, better than average in the Big Ten, look out for this offense because it could come together quickly.
They're going to score points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
this is a team that's going to move the ball. Their
Yeah.
offense is going to be very difficult to game plan against, especially with a mobile quarterback who's got an arm to throw downfield. Watch out.
If the offensive line,
He can move. That's an X factor. Then you start playing this zone type of thing and just you push your guy wherever you want and let your quarterback, do what he does.
so did want to get in on some defense here last season. It was an odd one to say the least for their defense. On one hand, they led the Big Ten in sacks, and was second in tackles for loss, but they were dead last in college football, in pass defense. I feel like when you when you can't stop somebody from throwing, and I think the Purdue game is the perfect example. Everybody knew they were going to throw the ball. They knew who they were going to throw it to, and they could not be stopped. Yeah. That set them back so hard, and it kept them in. It kept games close that they probably shouldn't have kept close, and they escaped and won close games. Which, hats off, winning games. That's all you got to do. You don't have to apologize how you do it.
Builds character.
Yeah, but you're playing with fire. And can you do that back-to-back years? That's the tough part. They need to see significant improvement. Look, they're not going to – I would bet – I'm just going to go with the drinking out of a shoe thing because that's what we do. I'm not going to bet my house or anything. I will almost guarantee you – I will guarantee you they will not be dead last in college football in pass defense this year. I can almost –
They can't
almost,
afford it.
but-
They can't afford it playing someone like Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think
Really
they're
in the
going to
Big
be,
Ten in general.
well, yeah. Even if you think you have this great idea of going on to the college football playoff, those teams will tear you apart in the first half, and you won't be coming back anytime soon.
You can't have that and pretend it and try to contend for a conference championship in any league.
No.
Let alone the Big Ten. Defensive line, despite losing top pass rusher Jacob Panashuk and Drew Beasley, Chris Bogle is coming in from Florida, another transfer portal guy, to go on the other side of the second leading sacker, Jeff Pietrowski. Ends will be more than fine, especially around fantastic rotation at tackle. I think that's really the biggest thing are their tackles. They got some big dudes there. It sounds like they're deep there, along with some high-end talent. Ryan, what do you think about the defensive line? Any concerns heading into the year, or do you think the transfer portal kind of answer those questions for them?
I think this is a defensive line that is going to manhandle lesser talent around them, especially with Jacob Slade. They're a big group, just like they were last year. So this is not your prototypical defensive end speed guys that will just beat everybody around them. Like they're going to engage with their blockers and try to win on either side. They're going to have 4 up front. I think their linebackers are always going to be talented. Cal Halloway is a beast as a linebacker. Jacoby Windman, he should be pretty good as a middle linebacker there. I know they lost Crouch. He was a little bit of an underachiever there last year, even though he's a good athlete out of Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
I think this defense is going to be better than last year, just based on odds with their secondary.
Yeah.
But what worries me, and I always talk about like stuff I've talked about 2 years ago. But 2 years ago, Jamon Green got burned a lot from Michigan, and I know I'm bringing this up, but there's a difference with getting beat on plays with yards and receptions, and then there's a difference of getting like legitimately beat
in
where
routes and-
physically you are unable to keep up or move around like you need to, lateral quickness and so forth. That was Michigan State last year. Their corners were not equipped to win those battles on a play-by-play basis. So they were beat all the time.
Yep.
And so that's tough as a safety, like where you're supposed to cover, where you're supposed to help. You can't put anybody on an island. And so that is where they need to – that's the biggest question mark. That's what they need to hope they've resolved some of those issues this year.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the linebackers. I mean, the Crouch one is 75 tackles, I think, is what I found.
Yeah,
on paper it seems like a lot, but you have guys that are already ready to fill that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
need.
He was a huge underachiever last year.
Halliday, you brought up, big playmaker. He kind of came out of nowhere in a lot of ways, right?
He's good, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that'll help the defensive line as well. I think that's one thing that I think that they're gonna do is they're gonna win that battle on the inside, right, and allow those linebackers to just go and make plays. And that's what they did last year at times, and I think they're gonna be ready to do that again.
Yeah.
Now getting pressure on a quarterback is another thing. I want to see it. But I mean, you can't say it can't happen.
Yeah, and
right?
if they get pressure from the inside, watch out. That's how Georgia beat everybody last year. Georgia did not beat anybody around the edges. They manhandled them up front. They pushed the whole pocket back altogether. Quarterbacks, that's tough. It's you're not taught how to get away from a whole line that's moving backwards.
Yeah, you're told to step up so the ends don't
exactly
get you when you can't do that. No, I think it's going to be a work in progress as a whole. The defense, it'll be when we see it, we'll know. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of like Ohio State in a lot of ways. It's like, yeah, I mean, it can't get much worse. They're going to be better here, but why? Other than it just can't get worse. That's the hard part, right? And you want to see it. You want to see it against true talent. We're not going to walk away against Western Michigan on Saturday or Friday and be like, well, that answers my questions. But I think Washington, after the Washington game, you'll know, because that's going to be other really good talent that you're going to see if they have what it takes on both sides of the trenches. I think it's going to become trenches.
Yeah.
Trenches are going to have to lead this team because you have playmakers elsewhere that are ready to make plays if given the chance.
Yeah. I expect these games to be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we know that this is going to be an exciting team.
They're going to give up yards. The ball's going to move against them, and they're gonna move against other teams.
Yeah.
I think it could be a high-scoring season just overall. For
It'll be interesting because like with the way that they ran the ball last year, everybody would think, well, they controlled the clock and did this and did that. They didn't really do that. They were a big strike team. It was ugly at times, then all of a sudden, boom, it would happen, and the defense was on the field quite a bit for a team that ran the ball as well as they did. It'll be interesting to see if those big plays kind of limit it a little bit and actually help the defense a little bit more. You know what I mean? Stay off the field, let them go through the rotation a little bit better, and can kind of control it that way. What's your biggest question for the team, though?
It's really going to be the play of the defensive backs.
Defensive backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if they can contain wide receivers, the other team's passing game, I think if they can trust two cornerbacks on this team, their line up front and their linebackers are going to take care of business against rush.
What do you think about Amir Speed, the transfer out of Georgia? So
he's an improvement.
Is an improvement, but
I don't know enough.
He's
I'll be
4
honest.
years of being a depth guy at Georgia. I don't know if he's going to come in.
Pretty good place to be a depth guy.
No, I agree, but I mean, who were their corners last year?
You're right.
Like,
it's not like
it's not like Georgia dominated because their corners were
Kendrick
shut
was their best corner at the time. Well, really the guy this year.
And
but
their corners got exposed against Ohio State, or sorry, not Ohio State, but Alabama. At times. So I don't know. I don't want to hate it on it, but it's like if that's who you're considering to be your savior, that's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, but we could have said the same thing about like a DJ Turner last year for Michigan. If you have to rely on a guy that is completely unproven, what do you have? It's like, well, you might have a good cornerback.
I think we did say that heading into the year. Like that was a concern for Michigan last year, right?
He stepped up to the plate.
Yeah. I'm not saying I was okay. I was just asking what you know about him. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth or anything.
Yeah, don't do that, man.
Whatever.
I went sideways quickly.
Anyways,
You want to fight?
no, I'm not in the mood to fight.
Yeah, my left shoulder hurts.
Get in some. Oh, maybe I am. No, you'd still kill me. Get into some player stuff here. Who would you consider a breakout player for Michigan State? I didn't. Do you see that I cut the
man.
list down a lot? I mean, you guys still didn't.
Oh, did you have it?
I
on
only
there?
had
appreciate
3.
that. That's good.
I only had 3 player things to talk about here.
Oh,
I got
breakout.
a breakout player.
All right.
I'm going to go with Jacoby Windman out of UNLV, transferred here, linebacker. They're going to expect a lot out of the linebackers. I mean, the way you look at the defense, what we were just talking about, they're going to try and use a lot more speed, and Jacoby's got a lot of speed. And I think what he's done so far at UNLV is going to translate well to what Mel Tucker's trying to do at Michigan State. So that's my breakout player.
Yeah, I was going to go with the running back position. So I would consider that Jarek Broussard or Jalen Berger. I'm going to go with Broussard, though, because I think he's going to lead this team. If you look at stats, and Jarrett was bringing this up last week, if you look at his stats and what he did in limited playing time, the stats stand out. And the physical ability can also stand out. So I think with this team, with the schemes that allowed Kenneth Walker to go nuts last year, will at least put him in position to break out if the talent is there. So, break out.
Nice. Then who do you guys think will be the MVP for the Michigan State Spartans?
I was going to say Jalen Berger.
Yeah.
I think Jayden Reed.
Yeah.
Jayden Reed for me is the key guy, and Peyton Thorne is probably the most important player, but he can't do it without Jayden Reed.
All right. So for the team, our expectations, for setting the floor, I went with 6-6, and I know that's kind of a hater mentality that some people might have, but let's just say losses with 2 Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are reasonable when talking about a floor. But when you also got at Washington, that's never easy. And then home against Minnesota, I think, could be very interesting. So, I'm not saying they're going to go 6-6. I think that's a reasonable floor. And I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It's just, it's definitely possible. And let's say you win one of those games, you still got to have that Sparty loss like Purdue was last year that they shouldn't have and kind of set themselves back. So,
Remember, we're talking floor.
I think that's a floor. And
there's nothing wrong with that floor number. I mean, if you were to say hey, I
guess it depends on your expectations.
If you lose all your ranked games, basically, and then add 1.
Yeah,
Right.
That's basically all you're saying.
yeah.
yeah, if you're going with some silly 2-10 kind of thing,
It's
I'd call
it's a tough record
Well,
or a tough schedule.
I'd call you out, but
Yeah.
6-6, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the floor, okay? The floor
Yeah.
for everyone listening.
So you guys think that's fair? 6-6 is a potential floor.
Yeah, I think that's a good floor.
And then I personally put their ceiling at 10-2. Look, it could be better, but I'm just not ready to say that they're ready to beat Ohio State. And I'm sorry, just one more loss outside of that is very reasonable and should be expected in a lot of ways. It's a very, very tough schedule. I don't think this team's ready to truly contend for a Big Ten championship, even though they almost did last year. I look at last year as the ceiling, and they hit it. Everything went right. It was incredible what they did last year. This is a different team. This is a different conference. You have other teams. You have Wisconsin on the up. You trying to get back. You have a Minnesota team that's grasping at anything possible. You're going to Washington. I just don't see how you escape this schedule with only 2 losses. And if they escape it with 1 loss, I will be the first to tell you I was completely wrong. But I hope that if they're 6-6 and the haters are going to hate on that, if they're that, I hope you guys are doing the same thing for me. You know what I mean? We're talking ceiling and floor here.
Yep.
So do you see a way that they have a higher ceiling than that? Or is that a fair ceiling?
No, I think it's a fair
That's
ceiling.
to the moon if they
just-
do better than that, in my opinion.
I think 11-1 is the ceiling. I think I could see a realistic route for this team to take advantage of some success early, get that confidence, especially at the quarterback position. I'm under the assumption that Peyton Thorne is a top-tier Big Ten quarterback. I think that's his ceiling. And with that type of leadership on this team, again, watch out. This is a sneaky team that could gain some confidence and win some games they shouldn't.
When will you know?
after October 8th.
For me, it's like 3 or 4 games into the season, and then I feel like I'll know.
So say they dominate the first 4 games, and then, or let's say 5 games, and then lose to Ohio State. Let's say they lose by 30 again. You'll know that they're really good, or you know that they're really bad. Like, I guess, why is that game the one that you'll know? It seems like it would be the week after. Like, how you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just my thought, but
No, for me, it's going to be the culmination plus playing Ohio State. You know, how they look against Washington at Washington, how they look against P.J. Fleck. And I don't think Maryland's a rollover by any means. I don't think that's just a lock win.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think at that point you've seen real competition, Washington, Minnesota.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and then you'll have an idea of how this team looks.
I think they should go in, and I think they should beat Washington. But I think if they do it handily, and I think we're going to see a lot on that game. That game, I think we're going to know, all right, does the Spartan team have what it takes, or are they going to be trying to play upset Cinderella team later on in the year? You know what I mean? Against teams that are looking to solidify their playoff hopes or Big Ten championship hopes.
If they
You know
go
what I mean?
against Ohio State undefeated and they pull off that game,
Oh, man, look out.
they could go up against Wisconsin with way more confidence than they've, than they know what to do with. And then Michigan game, let's say they lose one of those next 2. Sorry, they could run the rest of the season with 1 loss.
So what's your guys' overall prediction? I'm going to start. I'm going to go with 7-5, and I know it's going to sound like a hater, but I just look at the schedule and it's tough. That's where I'm going to go. I could see one more win. I could see one more loss, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm going to put them at 9-3.
Yeah, that's exactly where I have them.
9-3.
They have 3 really, really tough games with Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. They're always good for at least one of those upsets. And if they pull off that upset, they'll probably lose one game they shouldn't lose to, which could be Minnesota, Washington, end of the year Penn State. But I think they're going to be favored in most of these games.
All right. Well, that gets us to our schedule game. John, we're gonna need you for this, man. Are you ready?
I am just like.
You're just not happy.
I'm ready to
sorry.
chuck this phone into your
Where
pool.
Where did you draft? What draft slot?
I had the 2nd pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you auto drafted who? Number 1.
Well, number
first
2.
first pick.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
But then I tried getting in and out of the league, like the draft page, so that I could start like queuing players, and it wouldn't let me. And then it like auto drafted. Yeah. CD Lamb, and then. Who else? I forget. Like, just not good players. Oh, Leonard Fournette, and then like guys that I didn't want. Mark Andrews. I mean, he's all right, but like no QB. And then I look at what QBs are available, and like the best one that was available was like Justin Fields, and I think
Trey Lance probably.
Yeah, Trey Lance, and then whoever.
Good Trey Lance, not Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, at that point it was just way too late. So unfortunately, I'm in like a weird mood right now. We're trying to start a draft on a different app and see if we can get like the league settings up and running, because everybody like.
Did you guys go to the sleeper app?
We're trying, yeah. Like everybody's committed to drafting tonight. Doesn't matter like how late now, and it's just like,
Dang.
Man, this is gonna be a long night. So
yeah, well, at least you can stay and watch the Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
but
bear with me.
We're gonna need your picks though for these Michigan State games. Can you be aware for that, or do you just want us to do this ourselves?
So I just got to look at the schedule.
Tell us if it's a win or loss, basically. Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys want music for this? Do we usually do music?
We can do it.
Can you get a coin flip toss anything on your phone too?
Sure.
In case we're 2-2, then we got to do a coin flip. That'd be great. All right, so you guys want to do music for this? Hello?
Do it.
All right, we're doing
You
music.
talking to me?
What you talking
John,
about,
we need a little volume there. Will that work for you guys? We can get that going? A little college football here. All right, we're going to start off. This is Friday. Friday, guys. We made it. It is football season. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. My bank account doesn't, but it's fine. We're going to start on Friday. We got hosting Western Michigan. I'm going to go with a win. Do you guys all agree with that?
Win.
All right.
Win.
Akron. That's a win for everybody, right?
Win.
Yeah, win.
All right.
Blowout.
Week 3 at Washington, night game. John, what do you have? Win or loss for Michigan State?
I'm going to chalk up an L.
Micah.
Win.
Ryan.
Win.
I had a loss, so we need a coin flip. We're going to do heads will always be wins, tails will always be losses.
I just put win-loss down.
That works too. I didn't know you could do that on a coin. That's amazing. You just changed it yourself?
That's just a wheel.
Oh, win or loss? Oh, I see what you're doing. What is it?
It's a win.
Win. All right, 3-0 for the Sparties. All right, they are hosting the Minnesota Golden Gophers. PJ Fleck in his barbershop look that he's got going on. John, win or loss for the Spartans?
At home. Gosh, I wish they had a game time on that one.
Ooh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, let's Big Ten game. All right, they'll start the Big Ten season 1-0.
Micah?
Win.
Ryan?
Yeah, I got to win.
I got to win as well. I was almost going to change it to a loss because they officially got the win against Washington, but I'm not going to. I can't do that, right? Next, you got at Maryland. Coming off two pretty big games. They're 2 wins, right? They're 4-0 at Maryland. Ryan, you start us off with this one.
Win here, too.
Micah?
Win.
John?
Another win. They'll start 2-0.
Yeah, me too. I hope they lose. It's coming out. I'm starting to get frustrated watching all these wins on the board. I'm starting to think this is like gospel now already. Oh, this isn't good. I'm about to start getting fired up. All right, they are now 5-0, heading into probably the now number 1 overall team, Ohio State
That's a loss.
Buckeyes. Micah says loss. Ryan?
Yeah, loss here.
John?
I think it's going to be a clean sweep of losses. I
Yep.
hope.
I'm not gonna be the guy. Oh, actually, I was going to, but now I can't. You guys,
think they
you
could.
guys are right
but
there. But all right, next you go from Ohio State to hosting the Wisconsin Badgers. John, back-to-back losses here.
Yes, sir. Chuck them up.
I agree. Micah.
Going to that bye week a little beat up.
Oh yeah, Micah.
I'm going to go win. They squeak out, one of those famous, lucky Sparty games.
All right.
Yeah.
That was the
Win.
nicest mean thing you've ever said about the Spartans.
Hey, but they do it every year.
Wisconsin's a weird team, right?
We're gonna learn a lot about them. We don't
Yeah.
know a lot, but win or
They had
loss.
Such a weird year last year. I'm going to go with this is going to be a win for State.
All right, coin it or wheel it, whatever you want to say.
See what the odds say.
It's a win.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Sam.
All right, they got a bye week, then the Michigan game, which we will do later. You guys good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Fine with me.
All right. Next, they got the Fighting Alliance. Actually, we should just do the Michigan game.
Yeah, let's do the Michigan.
Let's do the Michigan game. I got a loss for Michigan State. John, loss for Michigan State, right?
3 in a row.
Yeah. Micah,
Whoa. Yeah, it's going to be a loss, boys.
Ryan, do your don't.
Is this going to be a coin flip or what?
No,
Oh, no.
It doesn't-
You,
your
it
vote
doesn't
doesn't-
matter what you say.
your vote doesn't
got it.
matter.
All right.
but you're gonna say win just to say that,
No loss.
loss.
Yep.
That's a sweep loss. All right, Illinois win, right?
Win.
Mike, John, is that a sweep?
It's a sweep.
Yeah.
Rutgers win.
Win.
Win for me as
Rutgers
well.
is a win.
Indiana, I'm going to go win.
Win.
John, Ryan.
3 in a row.
What, Indiana? Wait, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
distracted. There's a
Indiana.
skunk in my chicken coop.
Oh, boy. Oh, it's going
Yeah.
after the chickens
It's
or
going
the
after
eggs?
chickens.
The eggs
Oh,
or the
see it?
chickens?
No, the actual chickens.
I'll see
yeah.
it.
They tear them apart.
Are you,
see
you're not-
it.
you don't care.
Hey, what happens, happens. Nature, right?
Nature. Let it be.
Circle of life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh,
9
wow.
and 2 heading into Penn State. Will it be a night game? Will Penn State be important? I'm going to go with a loss for Michigan State here. At Penn State, never easy for anybody. Micah,
That is exactly where I'm headed.
Ryan,
Yeah, loss.
James Franklin is going to be playing for either his job.
we just got a new
Or-
contract, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
it doesn't
care
matter.
what he's
No, John,
got.
do you clean sweep that loss? Or do you think they beat Penn State?
No, I think it's going to be a win for Michigan State.
Wow.
Cold weather game. They got to get one on the road. I think it's a big one for Mel
right,
Tucker.
well,
He'll probably accept another job after that game's over.
Oh, boy. Dang, John.
All right, so that is actually a loss still, but that finishes their season at 9 and 3.
It's usually what happens when you lose your coach.
Look at that.
9 and 3 is what the Spartans will get this year. You heard it here first on State of My Sports podcast.